What's going on, Guardians? Your boy Sly here with another Destiny guide for you. Now this kind of goes with my Axis Phase 1 video because the foundation of Phase 1 is central to the second part. But since there's a loot drop in between the phases, it just makes sense to split them up. So if you need help with Phase 1 of Axis, click this link right here and hopefully I explain it well enough for you. You need to have the mechanics of Phase 1 down to memory before you can conquer Phase 2, which is a whole nother level. Just like every other raid, the first time you drop in and try it out, it seems impossibly hard. But after getting all the mechanics and the rotation down to memory, it's something that will end up being just another boss fight, and it's already starting to become easy for not only myself and my group, but tons of others out there. So take your time, learn the flow of the fight, and you too will be beating this with ease. Alright, so let's get to it. After the first phase is complete, our buddy Axis drops us some sweet loot and decides to rest up a little bit before rebooting. If you get a ghost or an artifact, throw it on because this fight is now light level 380, and people in the 350s will struggle a little bit, but it is totally doable. My first couple of clears happened on my second character at 355 and then a little later at 362, so while a little rough, it is entirely possible. Alright, so this phase is built off of the first phase. My advice is to keep the exact same teams, same sides, same jobs, and everything. 2 on the left, 2 in the middle, 2 on the right, one person throws, the other person is running the sword to get the cannons. You're still going to have captains come out after adds, you're still going to have servitors spawn with elemental shields, and you'll still have to destroy the servitors to not only drop the Siva charges, but to stop them from sacrificing and wiping the team. However, there are a couple of key differences. First, there are no longer panels you need to throw the charges on. Just like the Archpriest, you have to throw the charges at the boss himself in order to lower his shields. If you completed Phase 1 and you know the mechanics, that's the easy part. The hard part is what happens next. So right after the captains come out, 3 random players will become charged. You'll see the words empowered on the bottom left of your screen. These empowered players need to use that empowerment to overload the boss, and that ends up stunning him in place. You do that by jumping on his back and holding X or square, just like you would slam the sisters while doing the Kingsfall raid. Don't wait until you see the action button on your screen. Hold X or square as soon as you're jumping on his back and you'll slam him with the charge. This stuns him in place and keeps him locked up for a certain amount of time in order to do damage. After the empowerment is transferred to keep the boss locked in place, empowerment is once again randomized and 3 other players will have it. It could be the same, it could be 3 different people, it could be a mix, you just never know, and this is the problem with the final boss. The confusion this causes in groups can be severe, so be patient and talk it through. Everyone stays at their starting sides in the beginning, and the first stage of this boss fight is to first get the cannons and down the servitors and then throw the balls. That's your first priority. The only talking that should be going on is servitor callouts and the people who are empowered. I've seen different groups do different strategies, and this is what's worked for me, so that's what I'm going to tell you. Once captains are out, 3 people are empowered. You need 1 empowered person on the left, 1 in the middle who's going to cover front middle and back middle, and then 1 on the right. While you're taking down servitors, empowered people need to be assertive and call out. For example, if I had it Sly is empowered, Sly covers middle. Now that middle is covered, the other 2 who are empowered can sort out who goes left and who goes right. Sometimes it just works out that everyone gets it the place that they're at, but most of the times it doesn't. But now that everyone knows their position, do the last part of your job with that position in mind. For instance, if I know I need to be middle, I can carry the Siva charge from wherever I picked it up to the middle and throw it then. That way I'll be ready and in place right after the throw. Or if I was running cannon, find your servitor, shoot it, and then while the shot is charging, start heading to your spot where you need to be, and then just release the trigger once you're there. Once you get the hang of this part and the flow is down, the last person who has the final charge can end up asking if all the positions are covered, and if so, throw it and get ready. So if you're the guy that's empowered on the left or right, there are these generator looking boxes also on the left and right. Axis will teleport basically right next to these things, and it's a quick and easy jump over, boom, on time, let's do some damage. The middle has a large gap to cover, but if need be, people on the boxes also have an easy jump to the middle front just in case the middle is slow or a warlock, because this is not a warlock friendly boss fight at all. He can teleport to one of 4 places: left, right, middle front, and middle back. If you're in the middle and empowered, look at your radar and don't worry about anything else. Your radar will show the direction the boss is in even before his physical form starts to show. This will give you plenty of time to turn around and make the jump onto his back. If you're left or right, it's a simple and easy hop onto the boss. Now once he's stunned, empowerment will once again change to 3 other people, and make sure only the empowered players are talking. While you're doing damage from your first stun, call out who's empowered and where you're going. The key, guys, is to be in place. If you have to run to the other side of the map, don't worry about doing damage or shooting the boss. I'll get to that in a second, but the empowered people need to be setting up first, doing damage second. Once you're on top of the boxes or set up in the middle ready for the next teleport, then you can try to start sniping them or throw a few rockets down the way. The key is to not have someone who's not empowered start yelling out that certain sides need to be covered or someone's not here or there, because someone will end up leaving their side to start covering it, and the next thing you know there are 3 people on that one side and no one covering the other places. Having someone micromanage does not work very well. If you're empowered, you need to be assertive and adapt quickly. Like I said, figure out and get your spot first before you start to do damage. Once you're there, then start worrying about shooting. The reason why is because after the 3rd and final stun of that round or the 3rd teleport, the boss will be stunned for twice the amount of time, and since empowerment is now over, everyone needs to use this round to focus everything they have at the boss. The key here is to save your cannons for this damage round. The cannons do the most damage possible and put all the other weapons to shame. It takes about 3 Gjallarhorn shots to equal 1 fully charged cannon shot. The best way to do max damage is to charge each cannon shot for the same amount of time it takes to down a servitor. That's about a count to 3 seconds. Then let go, shoot again, count to 3, let go, and after you use all your cannon shots, switch to a sniper or rocket and do the best you can. To do the max damage you can, use a tether on the 3rd and final round and have weapons of light ready in the middle for the cannon users. This is really the only time damage matters. Get damage in while you can for the first 2 teleports, but don't worry if you don't shoot them at all, because all the damage comes from this round. Being in place the first 2 times is far more important. After the damage phase is over, he's going to use the same trick the Archpriest used during that particular fight. You'll see Siva density charge, and if you've seen these 4 pillars behind you before, that's what those are for. They act just like the clean rooms. So after the last damage phase is complete, run to the first pillar on your left, looking at the pillars, and make sure you're in the light. After each damage phase, the used pillar will lower, so you need to use the next one. That means you're only going to have 4 shots, and make sure the entire team only uses 1 at a time, because if you have lower light players on your team, you will need all of these pillars to do damage. So after the explosion goes off, everyone gets back to their starting point. Congratulations, 1 down, 3 more to go. Reset and do it again. A couple things to remember: after the first empowerment and places are called, wherever the boss teleports to, he will not stay at that location. He will always teleport somewhere else. So that leaves 3 places he could go. Say for instance he teleports to the right the very first time. The only other places that are left are middle back, middle front, and the left side. So empowered players need to call out who's going where and get ready. If he goes middle front, then the next time he can only go left, right, or middle back. The only thing that makes this difficult at first is the confusion that follows empowerment. But just listen to who is where, and if 2 players are empowered on the same side, don't let the rest of the team start yelling that there are 2 lefts or 2 rights or whatever. The empowered players can hear it just as well as you. One of them will adjust and go where it needs to be. Panicking and everyone calling out creates confusion. People get mad. Just don't do it. But that's it, guys. The hardest part is flowing while you're empowered. And like I said earlier, if you're empowered and the only other spot is like left all the way across the map, don't worry about shooting at all. Get over there, set up on that box where you need to be to make the slam fast, and then see if you can pull off a few shots once you're in place. Damage comes from that last part of the stun. The stuff before that doesn't really matter that much. Just get in what you can. It's more important to keep the fight going with less damage than to wipe the entire team. The last tip I can give is stay out of the boss's view. If he can see you, he will shell your area in Siva swarms, and they hurt pretty bad. It also takes a second to walk out of it, and it can kill the best of them. The shanks here can also 2-shot you, so use cover, and the middle is absolutely the worst spot. If he goes right, use the concrete on the right to shield you. If he goes left, move with him. If he's in the middle, try to stay out of his view. If you're a team on the left or right and he makes it over to your side, walk up and stay behind the pillar closest to him. He'll just end up shooting that pillar the entire time and the rest of your team will be kept safe. You won't be hurt either. If your team is comprised of a lot of Guardians in the 350s or low 360s, then it will take all 4 rounds to down him. That's completely normal. Don't worry about enrage or enragement or enrage is near. It only means that if you don't kill him here, it's over. When he's enraged, nothing really special happens. The only thing to watch for is just like every other raid boss, he will end up doing a last stand right in the middle. Have weapons ready and just save a few rockets for the end. If you have cannon shots left over, even better. Guys, if you don't kill him here, just like Oryx's last stand, he will wipe the whole team and you'll have to start over. So after the third and final empowerment's done, do as much damage as possible, and once he's enraged, or once he gets to 1% of his total health, whatever's first, that's when he'll do his last stand, and it's all or nothing there. But that's it, guys. It's really not that difficult. It's simply getting everyone in position and making the transition in time to be able to stun him if you're empowered, and that is it. Always use the cannons on damage round, and if your team has a lot of Guardians below the recommended light level, tether and weapons of light are absolutely critical. Don't underestimate how much extra damage they give you after 4 rounds of using it, because it's totally in the hundreds of thousands. You got this. Stay patient, be patient with others, and remember not to confuse anyone who's empowered. Let the empowered people speak amongst themselves and no one else. My group's rule is that if you're not empowered, you don't speak until damage is done. It keeps things smooth, and it's always worked for us. Once again, thank you guys for watching, and as always, glad to be a part of your Destiny experience. I'm working on the guide to get everyone the exotic pulse rifle quest, so keep an eye out for that as it'll be up here very soon. As always, if you want to stay up to date on everything Destiny Rise of Iron, follow me on Twitter at SlyNation or subscribe to me here on YouTube. Always a pleasure, Guardians, and until next time, this is your boy Sly. Done. Gone. Out.